Hello, everybody, and welcome to WOW 11. I am Paige Hattie, the director of Mobius Connect, and I'm pleased to welcome you to today's webinar. So we have how to build the business case to sell your reliability program presented by Vinoth Kumar. So if anybody has any questions for Vinoth, go ahead and drop them in the question panel somewhere that's there on your webinar screen, and we'll be sure to answer those during the Q&A session today if we have some time remaining at the end of the session. So that being said, Vinoth, I think we're ready for you. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the presentation on over to you.
Welcome you all to the week of webinar, the 11th WOW week of webinar sessions conducted by Mobius Connect. So first of all, I want to thank the Mobius Connect for giving me this opportunity to present a topic on how to build a business case to sell your reliability program. So myself, Vinoth Kumar Subramani. I'm working as a senior power reliability engineer. So let me take you to this journey. So what I do, I have a 14 years of experience in asset management, maintenance, reliability across the industrial verticals of oil and gas, petrochemical, water, and metals. So I'm working as a subject matter expert in delivering RCM, RAM, RCA, reliability analytics, asset health assessment, asset integrity management, asset aging assessment, and asset replacement decision-making projects, digitalization and IoT solutions. So being a reliability professional and asset management focused personnel, I used to drive the implementation of asset management policies and strategies, operation, maintenance, and optimization, and asset information strategies, CMMS and spare parts optimization. So the customers I served in the past role, I've successfully handled the asset management reliability projects for top aluminum smelters in Middle East and world largest petrochemical complex and the leading transmission and dispatch company. So I'm certified reliability leader and a certified asset management assessor, and I'm a certified CMRP professional, and I'm a certified ASQ trained CRE professional. And then I've undergone the trainings in RCM concepts and philosophies. So I'm a certified RCM3 facilitator from Aldon, and I'm a certified maintenance planning and scheduling professional from Reliability X. So I hold a bachelor's in mechanical engineering from Anna University, India. So let me take you to the journey. So now we are going to discuss the topic, how to build a business case to sell your reliability program for your organization. So we all know that the importance of reliability engineering and the importance of the reliability professionals for the organization. So the reliability engineering program is to achieve the goal by increasing the machine availability in order to produce more products and service, and decreasing the cost of unplanned maintenance by optimizing and selecting the best maintenance strategies to extend most economically efficient RCM and optimal interval calculations, and reducing the cost of holding the spares by minimizing the possibilities of stockout, as well as prioritizing the problems, the asset having the problem and subsystems to rectify to ensure the maximum cost benefit to the asset availability, and decreasing the capital expenses by making an economical optimal asset replacement decisions. So we all know that the ultimate goal of any manufacturing or a production business is to make money. That means to make a profit for the organization. So we all know the reliability and the reliability and the maintenance is a cost center for the organization, and we need to implement the best practices to drive the reliability and maintenance program for our organization. So whenever I want to approach any client or any industries, or whenever I used to visit any plant, the first question when I go to any manufacturing unit or any process industry, I've been asked a lot of questions related to the best practices to drive the program related to maintenance, reliability, and asset management. So I sometimes asked, where do we start our improvement effort, or where do we start to improve the reliability and achieve the operation excellency? So my answer is just start. So pick something small and make it right, and pick another thing and make it right, and keep doing this until you get everything is right. Then keep it that way. So we used to use the terminology called continuous improvement. The continuous improvement should be reinforced in the organization. So in order to bring that culture, in order to bring the reliability culture, in order to have a continuous improvement throughout the organization, we need to understand that we need to have a reliability program. The next question comes, where do we start? So some industries have a root cause analysis to determine the priorities, and other use the tools like asset criticality analysis and RCM, reliability centered maintenance, and FMEA or failure mode effect analysis and failure mode criticality analysis and predictive maintenance. The list goes on. Ultimate objective for any reliability professional in the organization is to see the benefits through the return on asset. So we used to ask two terminology, ROI and ROE. That means the net income upon the total asset, and the net income upon the revenue, and the revenue upon the total asset, and total asset upon the equity. So the return on asset and the return on equity plays the vital role for driving any reliability program for the organization. So if you are a maintenance and reliability professional, you will be using a lot of reliability tools to drive the reliability program. But if you are not, if you're new to this reliability engineering and you want to implement the reliability engineering program for your organization, you need to get a support of stakeholders. So without getting any support of stakeholders or without getting a buy-in from the top management, it's very difficult for us to drive the reliability program. So we need to approach the top management with a plan. So in order to enhance our reliability efforts, that means in order to prove our reliability efforts, so for any organization, we need a plan. So here you can see the business case for asset improvement plan. So to enhance the reliability efforts, it is crucial for organization to develop and communicate a comprehensive asset strategy and set targets and align its vision and mission towards the reliability excellency. So for any organization, we need to align organization objectives for all key functions: engineering, operation, purchase, finance, and maintenance and reliability. So if you can see this slide, you can see the steps which we need to follow. So there will be some query in our mind when we see this slide, but whether we need to follow the steps in a sequence way, or we need to follow it in a parallel. Each steps needs to be followed in a parallel way. So when you look at this slide, the first and foremost step when you want to develop the asset improvement plan, we need to identify the stakeholders, and then we need to understand the audience, and we need to define the reliability program, and we need to understand the operating cost, operating cost, which includes the failure cost and the maintenance cost for an asset, and then conducting a risk assessment. The next step is engaging the stakeholders and gathering the input and feedback from the various stakeholders. Then we start preparing the business case. So here, in order to prepare the business case, so we need to come across all the steps which I told you, which I presented in the slides, from identifying the stakeholders till gathering the input and feedback from the stakeholders. So once we prepare the business case, then only we can quantify the benefits of a reliability program we are going to drive for our organization. So we need to quantify the benefits and ROI. The ROI will be the return on investment and the implementation plan. And then we present a business case. And then finally, we need to get a review and approval by the stakeholder. That means each and every stakeholder in the organizations need to support the business plan or the business case. So we need to get a buy-in from the stakeholders. So if you don't get the buy-in, we can't able to drive the reliability program. So what I mentioned, that align the organization objectives for all the key functions across the organizations. So we all know the strategic framework goals for any organization. The basic strategic framework goals will be the vision, mission, values, action plans, strategies, and goals. So we need to align our all organization objectives in line with the strategic framework goals, and we need to get a buy-in from the stakeholders. So once we get a buy-in, then only we can go ahead for implementing any reliability program which is required for the organization. So if you can see this slide, you will clearly understand that the next slide, you will clearly understand that how we are going to build the business case to sell our reliability program. So if you want to drive any reliability program for your organization, you need a solid business case that needs to be approved by everyone in the organization. That means every stakeholders in the organization. So what are the steps involved in building the business case? The first and foremost step is to define the problem and the objectives, and then quantifying the benefits and the return on investment, and assessing the implementation cost, and presenting the risk analysis, and finally summarizing the business case. So once we summarize the business case, then we will present a business case to the stakeholders. So we are going to drive any reliability program for our organization. So by looking after the value of improvement, the value of improvement will be from the reduction in maintenance cost as well as the outage cost. So we required a investment. That means we need a investment to drive any program. So in order to get an investment, we need to describe the current performance or a condition, including the current state of an asset. So the current performance or the condition, including the current state of an asset. So we need to collect the maintenance cost, the maintenance failure cost, as well as the operation loss cost, and we need to know the historical failure data of an asset. So if you define the current state of your asset, the current performance of an asset, so thereby we can take up the program, what will be our future state, that then we can describe the performance or a condition which is required in a future state. Then we develop an action plan describing the actions you are going to take to meet the business case and how we are going to achieve it in a future state. And then we are going to present it to the stakeholders for an approval. So here I'm presenting a simple business case for your example. That means if you want to, a simple example has been shown in the next slide for you. So if you want to implement any reliability improvement program, so how the business case should be. First step, you need to define the problem and objectives. So we need to define the problem. So let's take an example that you got a pump which is repeatedly failing in the plant, and the pump creating some major impact in the production and the financial loss or operation loss. So in that scenario, we need to clearly tell that what kind of problem we are facing in our day-to-day environment of operation, and we need to talk about the value of improvement, the first and foremost step. Then we need to propose that the value of improvement, that what kind of improvement program we are going to do. So whether we are going to improve the life of the mechanical seal, or whether we are going to reduce the failures on the bearings, or whether we are going to reduce the failures on any asset, any component in the asset. So we need to describe those things. So what will be the current MTBF of the asset, current failure rate of the asset, and what will be the current performance of that asset. So we need to clearly talk about the problem, and we need to talk about the objectives and what kind of improvement we are going to see. We are going to add to the particular asset. So whether we are going to improve the MTBF of an asset, and we are going to reduce the mean time to repair, or we are going to reduce the maintenance cost or the operating cost on the asset, or we are going for any kind of modification or any management of change or any modification we are going to do, and we are going to add a value improvement to the particular asset or not. Then we need to propose the cost. So what will be the cost is going to take for us to implement that particular program or the particular modification or the particular change. So we need to tell what will be the payback period and what will be the potential cost saving we are going to achieve it by implementing that value of improvement for the organization, and what will be the return on investment, the potential return on investment for the organization, and who will be the project owner for the particular project, and who will be the project sponsor, and who is the reliability engineer is going to take it forward, that project, and what is the project status at present. So we all know that when we develop a business case, so we may have a concept. So we may start with the concept, or we may start with the development phase, or we can go to the approval phase and we can implement it. So the different stages the project goes. So just we need to mention the stages of the project and what will be the current state of the asset. That means describe the current performance of the conditions, including the various measures. So if you want to measure the basic reliability measures for any asset, we used to measure the reliability, availability, and maintainability. So try to state what are the current failure rates and what will be the MTBF and TTR for the asset, and what is the current operation availability and what will be the achieved availability for the particular asset, and how the asset is performing, and what is the maintenance cost of that particular asset. So take a cost horizon for 3 to 5 years or 5 to 10 years, and try to put up the cost here. That means the maintenance and failure cost and operation loss cost, and history of asset failure cost. I'll try to populate all the figures here in the current state. Then talk about the future state. That means you already quantified the benefits and the ROI, the return on asset and the return on investment, and describe the required performance of the condition, including the key measures like the operating equipment effectiveness, the unit cost. So all those things, try to mention it. Then describe the actions you are going to take to meet the business case and to achieve your future state. So here you need to come up with your action plan. So whether you need any training for your maintenance and reliability professionals, or we need to develop the standard operating procedures, or we have to go for any kind of a modification, engineering modification procedures, and we need to go for a different vendor selection for any modification, or we need to go for any kind of engineering design change, or whatever the change we are going to do. You need to give all the action plan and the 22 days to complete those action plan with a milestone. And then you need to mention the project stakeholders. So overall, the part of the stakeholders. So all the stakeholders needs to be taken into the consideration when you are addressing the any key issues related to the maintenance and reliability improvement for your plant. So you can add a few more points to it also. Like you can trend the last 5 years cost or last 10 years cost for your particular asset, and last 5 years failure rate, and the last 5 years MTBF and MTTR. So that means you need to prove that whatever the solution you are going to provide for your organization in the long run, you need to justify it in terms of cost and in terms of the equipment and asset performance in the long run. So if you take any asset, that means you need to improve the reliability for an asset. That's our ultimate objective and the goal. So in order to implement a reliability and asset management program in an organization, which involves careful planning and coordination and a systematic approach, so you will get a business plan approved. That is well and good. If you want to drive a reliability program, here are the steps you need to get through the implementation process throughout your organization. The first and foremost step, you need to conduct an assessment and a goal setting. Conduct a thorough assessment of current asset management practice and the reliability to understand the overall maturity level of your organization. So if you see a radar diagram, so here I took the target in one color and the current condition another color. You can see the blue and red there. And I've considered the different criteria like corporate asset strategy, culture, and organization. Then I consider work management, CMMS system and material management, reliability engineering, predictive technologies, operation-driven reliability, and engineering. So here we need to clearly understand that the first and foremost thing, we need to understand the maturity level of our organization. So we all know that as per the SMRP best practices, the Society of Maintenance Reliability Professionals best practices, OEE should be greater than 78 to 85%. So it varies from a batch plant to the continuous plant. So tentatively the OEE stands from 78 to 90%. Some plants it will be 77%. That means the best practice for the OEE. This much percentage we need to have. And we need to understand that what is the current OEE of our manufacturing assets and what is the current performance of our manufacturing assets. The first and foremost step is to conduct a gap assessment. So there are a lot of tools available for us to conduct a gap assessment. You can go through the asset reliability transformation tool that we call it as ART tool, which has been developed by Mobius Institute and Mobius Connect. So Mobius Connect has developed the ART tool, the asset reliability transformation tool. You can use that tool also to do the maturity assessment, or you can hire a third-party consultant to come to your organization and do this assessment for you. And you can hire a reliability champion or reliability consultant for you to do this assessment to understand what is your current maturity level of your organization. So without doing any assessment, we can't able to come to conclusion. So they conduct a thorough assessment of your current asset management practices and the reliability to understand the overall maturity level and set a clear and a specific goal for the program aligning with the organization overall objective. So your objectives can be achieved within 3 years or within 5 years. So come up with a plan that the roadmap plan for you to drive the overall objectives for your organization. So once you've done it, then take that assessment to your leadership. That will be your top management. But what I told you that you need to get a stakeholder buy-in, secure a support and commitment from the top management or top level management and the key stakeholders, and emphasize the importance of program in improving the operational efficiency as well as reducing the cost. So from a cross-functional team, then next step is to form a cross-functional team. So assemble a team with representatives from the different departments like maintenance, stack, operations, engineering, ensure the team has right expertise and authority to make or to take the decision. Then develop a strategy and a plan. That means create a comprehensive strategy with actionable steps to achieve these goals, to achieve the set of goals, include the resource allocation, timeline, and performance indicators for monitoring the progress of the action plan. That means your overall objectives. Then invest in technology and training. Select a suitable tools for asset management and reliability improvement. So in order to drive the reliability program, you need a tool. You need to invest on asset performance management tool. You need to have a CMMS tool for your organization. You need to have a predictive maintenance tool. So not only going for a tool, not only going for getting a right tool, and we need to teach that one. See, we get a tool. Parallelly, we need to train the people also. That means we get a tool, like we get advanced reliability analytics tools or any digitalization tools for us to drive the reliability program. We need to make sure that we need to provide them an adequate training to each and every employee in the organization. That means select a suitable tools for asset management and reliability improvement, and provide a training to the employees on asset specific knowledge, maintenance best practices, and using the chosen tools. So we need to make sure that we need to use the knowledge and expertise available within the organization. We need to invest in that, and we need to get the return on asset and the return on investment from that tools. That is very important. And implement the predictive maintenance techniques. So integrate the predictive maintenance techniques like condition monitoring, vibration analysis, motor current signature analysis, infrared thermography, oil analysis to detect the early signs of equipment failure, and enable the proactive maintenance to reduce unplanned downtime. So then the next step is to promote a reliability culture. So we need to foster a culture that prioritizes the reliability, safety, and proactive maintenance, and recognize and reward the employees who can contribute to the success program. And we have got the objectives. I need to make sure that we are monitoring and measure and improve That means we need to monitor all the objectives have been attained at a specific time horizon. So we need to set up a key performance indicators to track the program performance and assess regularly the progress for the given recommendations or the given objectives, the overall objectives, and continuously review the data and feedback to identify the areas for improvement to make a data-driven decisions. And remember that the implementing reliability and asset management program is an ongoing process. It's not a one-time activity. We need to regularly review the program effectiveness, and we need to engage in a continuous improvement effort and adapt the changing business needs to achieve the long-term success. So here it's a very crucial thing for any organization to look upon, that the change management comes into the place. It means we are going to have a transformation from the firefighting culture towards the firefighting maintenance towards the proactive reliability culture. So then we need to look at how the people can adapt to the organization. That means how the employees in the organization can adapt to the change, to stay adaptable and flexible as the organization evolves. Technology, business goal, and market conditions may change. So be prepared to adjust the program accordingly. So by implementing the reliability and asset management program is a long-term commitment that requires a collaboration, dedication, and a focus on the continuous improvement. By systematically addressing the key reliability issues and optimizing the asset management practices, an organization can enhance and reduce the downtime and achieve the better overall financial performance. This is what I told you. The ultimate aim of any organization is to make profit, is to make money. So these are all the steps which I'm proposing for you to drive the reliability program. So you can do the maturity level assessment for your organization, and you can come up by adding a lot of points to this best practices, and you can drive your reliability program for your organization. So we all know that we need to maximize the life cycle of an asset, and we need to minimize the operating and maintenance cost. So to drive the reliability and maintenance program, we need to come up with a business plan, and we need to have a business case, the right business case for us to get a buy-in from various stakeholders. And the ultimate objective for us is to address the key problems, whatever we are facing in our organization. So take an example that you got the top 10 assets which has got high maintenance cost, and the top 10 assets which has got low reliability and having a more number of failures, and look at those assets. That means take out 1 or 2 assets out of it and try to start your reliability journey program to implement the performance of those assets. So if your organization is new to the reliability implementation part, and if you are existing and your maturity level is well and good for your organization, and try to implement the best practices and try to reduce your total maintenance cost and try to reduce your asset replacement value cost and try to improve the performance of your assets over a period of time. So you know that any asset has got the life cycle. So say the asset has got 20 years or 30 years. The 10% of the life cycle of an asset will be approximately the 2 years out of 20 years. So in that, the asset will go the different stages from the idea creations to the feasibility, preliminary design, approval, detailed design, procurement, construction, commissioning. So after the commissioning, the asset is handed over to the operation and maintenance team. So all we can do during the operation phase is run and care for the equipment as it's designed to be. If the design requires expensive parts and a lot of downtime for maintenance and repair, then the design is the problem and not the maintenance. Is what you need to understand, that by doing a more maintenance, we are not going to improve the reliability of an asset. So we need to address the key issues. Is what I told you, that some of the problems will be persisting and we can't able to come out and we can't have a corrective preventive action for those problems. So for those problems, we need to address it through the business case. That means we need to have a business case to justify that this problem is occurring for a long time. And we need to go for some modification, some improvement, and to improve the performance of the asset. So over a period of time. So for any organization, with respect to the asset age and with respect to the asset age and the cost, the objective is to look at the benefits, how they are going to justify in the long run. So if you can see this graph, the asset age versus the total maintenance cost. So there is a baseline for the total maintenance cost. That way a benchmark will be set in lot of organization, that the total maintenance cost or the annual cost of maintaining a site or a plant, including the investment cost, and asset replacement value can be defined as the budget needed to replace the production capability of the plant. So there is a benchmark that the TMC and ARV should be around 3.5%. So however, the true desired percent for the benchmark should be determined by taking the asset age and complexity into the consideration. So we need to look at how we are going to balance the asset replacement value against the total maintenance cost. And we need to see the current performance of the asset. And we need to see the asset age with respect to the maintenance cost we are spending over a period of time. So what I'm trying to tell you, that 80% of your life cycle will be the part of O&M phase. And most of the money we are spending it on the O&M phase for your asset. I need to make sure that the total cost of ownership should be kept minimum throughout the life cycle of an asset. So we need to look at that, the KPI, the most important KPI is asset replacement value. So these are all the steps we need to follow to improve the performance of your assets over a period of time. So now I'm coming to the last slide. That means if you want to implement any best practice for your organization, the first and foremost step, I told you that we need to go for an asset management assessment. That means we need to go for a maturity level assessment. We need to diagnose the maturity level of your organization. So once your maturity levels are set, then we need to drive the asset management policy, strategies, and objectives in line with the safety, AHS compliance. Then we need to come out with the performance measurements, and then we need to come up with the asset register and maintenance plan. And we need to have an adequate maintenance work management system. And we need to look upon the contractor and the contract management and the spare parts administration. And we need to look at the focused improvements. Then we need to have a maintenance plan and optimization, and a good reliability program. That means a good condition monitoring program, and good operator care, asset care program, and the streamlined information flow, the part flow and information flow, and the spare parts optimization for the organization. Then we need to look at the asset lifecycle management, the EHSS management, and the risk, and finally the asset financial compliance. So in order to have a sustainable enterprise asset management program for your organization, so we will come across all these steps. Even if you are trying any program for your organization, the first and foremost step is to conduct a maturity level assessment. I recommend to use asset reliability transformation process assessment program, which is already designed by the Mobius Connect, Mobius Institute, and through the Mobius Connect, I'm telling you that you try to implement the ART process. The ART process will be very useful for your organization. The asset reliability transformation process, you can use it to derive your maturity level assessment. So I would like to thank the Mobius Connect for giving me this opportunity to present this presentation. So thank you all. And I could like to take up on the questions now.
All right, it looks like we've been having a couple of connection issues. Vinoth, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay,
Brady.
wonderful. Okay, so if anyone has any questions, go ahead and type them in the Q&A panel. But Vinoth, we do have a couple of questions right now. So the first one, how long should we record data to build the business case?
Yeah, it was an excellent question. So the data collection process is a continuous. This means it needs to have a consistent data. So if you don't have the consistent data, we can't able to develop a business case. So as I told you that the safety is everyone's responsibility in the organization. The same way the data collection is also the maintaining a data and collecting a data is everyone's responsibility. If you want to collect any data for an asset and to develop a business case, usually it will take around around 4 to 6 weeks. It will be a tentative timeline for you to collect an accurate data. So you need to talk with different stakeholders in the organization. You need to go to the operation. You need to talk with maintenance, and you need to understand better about the asset and the performance of an asset. So a tentative timeline horizon should be around 4 to 6 weeks minimum, and it may go up to 1 month or 2 months also. But a tentative time horizon will be up to 4 to 6 weeks.
All right, so 4 to 6 weeks, good to know. And the next question, what is your suggestion to getting the team involved to help build the case and bring it to the managers?
Yeah, so it's what I was trying to tell you that it means we will take it to the top management. So we won't take the things to the manager. So the top management is the one who's going to approve the budget for us to execute the things in a long run. So it's what I was trying to tell you that whenever we are going to analyze the problem, that we need to come up with the ROA and ROE, that the return on asset and the return on investment for the particular project. So if it's quantifiable and create value for the organization, and definitely it could be go on the step-by-step process for an approval. Some of the improvement programs can be done within a year, and some may take the time horizon of 1 to 3 years or even a 5 years also, based upon the complexity of the project we are proposing for the organization. So we must need to be defend ourselves well enough that whatever the case we developed, definitely it's going to add a value for our organizations, and we need to come up with a lot of evidences, and we need to justify those evidence for the top management in the long run. So this is all about the getting an approval from the top management. It's what we need to do it. So
All right, perfect. What would you suggest if my manager does not believe in the business case or they want to change things?
yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you, that it's a continuous improvement program. That means whatever the change you are proposing it may be get it approved in a year, or it may be get it approved in a coming year. And definitely your data is going to speak that an asset which is having a repetitive failure, and whatever the recommendation you are proposing, and whatever the solution or a suggestion you are proposing is not able to get it done, and it's going to affect your balance sheet, and you're going to see at the end of the year and how it's going to affect your maintenance budget. So your how the reactive cost, the reactive maintenance cost goes high, and how much cost you are going to spend on the particular asset. And definitely whatever the suggestion you are proposing it, any reliability engineer or any reliability professional is coming with the study and the basis and the data. So if he is not accepting that recommendation what you have proposed, so definitely you can see a perfect example. You can just Google it right now also, the overall equipment effectiveness versus the EHSS factors. That means when reliability recommendation is not implemented with the stipulated timeline, there are more and more possibilities that the EHSS incident goes high, the injury rate goes high. Coming to my example, that I've seen a real-time example in my life, that I've proposed a lot of reliability studies, recommendations. I come up with a lot of new business case with a new recommendation, which has been not implemented within a time frame of 3 to 6 months, and 6 to 1 year. And I've seen throughout my eyes, the injury rate goes high. That whatever the new case which you are coming up with, that whatever the study the reliability engineer proposed, that recommendation is not implemented within the timeline and a time bound, definitely there is a possibility of going on. One is it going to affect your budget, and next thing is going to affect your safety performance and the safety KPIs. And at the end of the day, if the business case is not approved in a first year, definitely it's going to be approved in the next year. So keep on trying it, and definitely whatever the case you prepared it, you will be having a strong data and a strong evidence to it. So any reliability engineer's recommendation is not approved, and you can see how it's going to impact the balance sheet. That means budget as well as your safety KPIs. These are the two things you need to quantify justified evidence for you to propose it for the next year. That's the only one thing you can do it.
All right, excellent advice. How can I get the maturity program as a consultant?
Yeah, it's good question. Ask me that it's not mandatory that you need to go for a third-party consultant to do a maturity assessment. So when I had a first talk with Jason Trender from Mobius, that's one who wrote the 3 books for asset reliability transformation program. So if you read that book, it has clearly mentioned that what are the steps we need to do to conduct a maturity assessment program. So he has given around, he has covered around near about 65 areas to be total 60 to 70 areas to be focused in an organization to do a maturity assessment. If you read the ART books, you will come to know that what are the questions you need to ask the different stakeholders of the organization, and you can build a radar diagram by doing it by taking an input from the ART book. So ART book has got clear questionnaires for us to do the maturity assessment. And if in case you are not able to do it within your within the time, you can't able to allocate a time, and you can do it for your organization by yourself. And in that case, you can go for getting an advice or a support from any strategic consultant available in the market, and you can go and you can search it, and you try to hire them, and try to get it done for you. And so they will do it for you, and you can evaluate that report with any other third party consultant also, or anyone who is an experienced person available within your organization. You can do with them. So as of now, the ART program you can follow, and you can follow the ISO 55000 maturity assessment, and you can develop your own questionnaires for the maturity assessment based upon your current performance and current level of your organization. So this is how you can go. So the ART has got very good questionnaires for you to conduct your maturity assessment program. I recommend you to read the ART assessment questionnaires. So definitely you can do it by your own self. No need for any consultant too.
Okay. And then what would you consider to be the most important thing to include in the business case when you're building it?
So what I told you that I clearly shown you the steps. When you see my presentation, if you go back and see the recording of the session also, I told you that we need to look at the 5 key things. One is the problems and the objectives and quantified benefits and the implementation cost. And then we need to conduct a risk assessment or risk analysis. Then we need to go ahead with our business case. You can quantify it in terms of return on asset and the return on equity and return on investment. These are all the key things we need to consider it for the implementation.
All righty. Awesome. Well, thank you. And Vinoth, if anyone wants to reach you, how can they reach you?
Yeah. Okay. So if you want to reach me, then I'm available in the LinkedIn. So definitely they can approach me. So I will be in the name of Vinoth Kumar Subramani. So this is my second presentation. So they can go through the Mobius Connect. My first session will be how to develop a business strategy for organization. So I dropped my LinkedIn ID in the chat box. So all the participants can connect with me over the LinkedIn, and I can support them how to do the maturity assessment and what are the steps they can do it for a long run. Yeah.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, Vinoth, for that wonderful presentation. Is there any last thing that you'd like to add?
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to tell you that I've been working in the world's largest aluminum smelter. I've been worked with world's largest petrochemical complex. It's all my past experience which I've been done. And whatever the recommendation I've been proposed, sometimes it has been defended by different stakeholders. It has go to the various approval, management approval process. There is a lot of gateway approval process are there. And as I told you that being a reliability professional is your continuous journey to carry on the things to move on. So try to focus on your the KPIs which you can try to attain it. That means the first problem you need to look at the low hanging fruits, where you can try to resolve the low hanging fruits. That means low hanging issues. That means those issues you try to overcome it, and slowly build a trust among all the stakeholders in the organization. That means if you are a reliability professional, the operation has to believe in you, and the maintenance has to believe in you, and you need to get a support from all the stakeholders in the organization within your organization. And once you build the trust, then definitely people believing at that reliability program definitely add a value for them in a long run. So they never feel insecure that the reliability program is going to remove them from a job. It's not like that. So we all know that the evolution of maintenance has been changing. Now we are in the industrial IoT 4.0 era, and we are moving towards the realization, and a lot of new things are happening in this world, around the world. So we need to make sure them that whatever the solution we are proposing to them, we need to get a buy-in from everyone. So it's a continuous improvement process. So we need to wait for the benefits to be reap off and to show the benefits for our organization in the long run. So this is what I was trying to communicate it. So it's a continuous improvement process. Thank you all for joining this session.
All right. Well, again, thank you, Vinoth, for presenting today. And as a thank you to our wonderful attendees, we are pleased to provide you with 50% off your conference pass to the CBM and Reliability live training conferences that are happening in Mexico in August and Australia in November. You can use the code WOW50 to reserve your seat and take advantage of this discount. These events will include certification training opportunities, hands-on workshops, and case study sessions. You can visit MobiusConnectConference.com to learn more about these live and in-person events. You'll also find the link to register in the follow-up email after this webinar. And also, just be on the lookout for an email from us containing the on-demand version of this webinar and your certificate of attendance. And if you are attending our next webinar, it is the Model of Predictive Analytics today at 3 p.m. with Limwell Sagadraika and Amitabh Khosla. We hope to see you there. If you haven't signed up already and you would like to attend, please visit the Mobius Connect LinkedIn page or go to your attendee hub and click Join Now when the session begins. And if you are interested in engaging with other industry professionals or would like to participate on the industry's live feed, you can visit MobiusConnect.com and create your free profile. Make sure to follow us on social media at Mobius Connect to stay up with the latest community happenings. And if you have any questions, please email the Mobius Connect team at info@mobiusconnect.com. All right, thank you guys for joining us. Have a great day. Please stay safe, and we'll see you next time.